What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I am the Party Killer, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about Sun. So we've done the Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and now we're up to the Sun. And then, last but not least, we're gonna do the Moon. So we're gonna do the Sun through the 12 houses. So starting off with the first house, we got the Sun in the first house. So in the Sun with the first house, the Sun represents what you're consciously aware of. You know what I mean? You're consciously what you illuminate. That's what the Sun is. The Sun illuminates the world, right? So that's the same thing you're doing within your mind. You're illuminating that house. So you're consciously, that's where you're consciously mostly aware of. You know what I mean? That's the Sun. That's where you really put most of your mental energy. Like for instance, I've got my Sun in my third house. You know what I'm saying? And I have it in Scorpio. So I'm consciously mostly aware of um things that are deep and very like unseen. You know what I'm saying? That's how you go. Like it goes like that, or transformative and things like that, or spiritual, or deep and knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? So same thing goes. Like let's say if you have your Sun in your fifth house, um, and it's in Pisces, so you're consciously mostly aware of your creativity. That's where you like to put your consciousness and your mental energy, mostly in your creativity. That has to do with imaginative creations or dreamy creations or even your children, because fifth house represents children. Fifth house represents children. So by fifth house representing children, you're consciously aware of your kids and how creative they are, or how because it could either be creative or delusion. So that it goes hand in hand. But that's where you like to put your mental consciousness in. So that's what the Sun represents. While the Moon represents more of your emotional awareness and what you like to emotionally tie to. But today we're talking about the Sun. So the Sun in the first house is you like to be consciously aware and illuminate your personal experiences. That's where most of your consciousness is at. Is like based on your personality and your experiences. So you're really mentally focused on the way you come across to other people. That's where you like to put your consciousness in. So each time you're interacting with people, you're always thinking about that, about how you want a person to come across to this person, and you put most of your mental capacity in that experience. You know what I mean? Your personal experiences and your personal aura. That's having the Sun in the first house. Having the Sun in the second house, you like to put your consciousness based on what you value or your actual things that you own, your items. You know what I mean? That's where you like to focus. You put your mental focus on your value, your consistency, because fixed air, Taurus, second house. So you like to focus on what is stable, what is valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? So if you have like uh Sun in your second house and you have Libra there, you're consciously always mentally thinking about if your values are balanced or not, if the things that you own are balanced or not, if your money is balanced or not, and who are you sharing that with? You know what I'm saying? Or your energy. Is it, do you value your energy? Does it feel balanced, or do you feel out of pocket? So that's the Sun in the second house. You're mostly just focused on your money. You're mostly focused on your stability, things that you can rely on. You know, um, yeah, your value system, the things that you think are valuable to you. That's what you like to think about. Currency, Sun in the third house. Having Sun in the third house is your actions and your consciousness is mostly based on your thinking and your surroundings. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have Scorpio in my third house, so it will be based on my actions and my thinking. So well, I don't, okay, like yeah, I like to keep things private or mysterious. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's where I like to think about. That's the things that I think about, or the way I act. I act mysterious and private, and I like to think about things that are mysterious and private. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it is. It's your actions and your thinking, what you like to consciously, what you're consciously aware of. um Having the Sun in the fourth house, you're mostly thinking about and acting on your emotions or your family. You know what I'm saying? You're always thinking about that. You're always thinking about your family. Your most um, mental memories are based on your family, having it in the fourth house, or based on your emotions and how you emotionally feel. You're always thinking about your emotions. You're always thinking about your if that experience, if you're emotionally tied to it or not. You're mostly thinking about what you're emotionally have encapsulated over the years. And sometimes you might have to consciously let these things go and not be so attached to it. And you could also just be, yeah, very aware of your family, consciously thinking about your family a lot. Your home, your home system, what makes you comfortable. You're always thinking about what makes you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You're always thinking about family and, yeah, and things that just bring you that family vibe, whatever that might may be. Yeah. So, sun in the fifth house, right? We just said fourth house, yeah. Family, emotions, consciously aware of or like to think about or act on these things. You act with emotional impulse. You act sometimes moody, or you like to put your emotions or heart on your sleeve, the way they say it, that saying. Yeah. Sun in the sixth house. No, sun in the fifth house, sorry. So this is home here. Sun in the fifth house, Leo. So you're consciously aware of your creativity. You're consciously aware of the way you express yourself. You're consciously um thinking about how you well, not come across, how you want to be center stage in whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? How you want to be that shining individual. You're always thinking about that and you act on that also. So you're naturally a gifted, charismatic person. You know, you like to express yourself, and a lot of people are captivated by your light, just like the sun. So you're naturally good at these things. You know, you're consciously aware of how to maneuver in a crowd where people, be drawn to you. So that's having sun in the fifth house. You're always thinking about these things and you're consciously aware of those things, of how to act. You know, you might be a very good actor or something like that. It might be a profession for you. Or also, you're just consciously aware of your children. You're always thinking about your children. You're always thinking about your creativity, what you like to be creative, what you're creatively into, and what you like to create out into the world, whether it's children or mental things or some form of art or invention or something. You know what I'm saying? But some form of creation, and you're consciously aware of these things. You're always thinking about it, and that's where your mental focus is mostly at. And you like to act on these things. You like to act on your creativity. Having the sun in the sixth house, you're mostly thinking about your health, your physical wellness, and also things in your life, the routines and patterns in your life. Also your work habits, your even your personal habits. You're always thinking about these things and your work habits and just work in general. Um, Having the sun in the sixth house. And this is what you like to act on. You like to act in a Virgo way. You like to act based on precision. You're very precise. You like things a certain way, and you're always thinking about these things. You're always thinking about your health and how you can make your health better, or you're always thinking about whether your health is ascending or declining. But you're consciously aware of these things, and you might be consciously aware of ways to help yourself, like in terms of like herbs, natural remedies, and things like that. Or it could be like medicine or what's it called? Vitamins and supplements and minerals and things like that. So you're very consciously aware of these things. You know, you like to put your mental focus and you like to act that way. You like to act sometimes nervously. You might always be too much in your mind that you start create a lot of unnecessary nervousness. So you have to be careful of that. But usually you like to act in precision. Having the sun in the sixth house, everything's always has to be precise for you. Everything has to be perfect for you. Um, yeah. Having The sun in the seventh house, you think about relationships a lot. You think about your values a lot. You think about justice a lot. You always want things to be fair, whether it's injustice in terms of the law, whether like you're a police officer, you're a prosecutor, things like that. You're focused on balance, or it could be like just relationships, you know, um, of all forms, whether business or personal or romantic. Having having the sun in the seventh house, you like to think about how to act in a fair manner. You know what I mean? You like to think about these things, and you're always consciously aware of how to act in a fair manner, how to act in a well balanced way, so that everyone can feel recognized. Yeah, you like to think about your relationships a lot. So the people your can't even speak. The people that you're partnered up with in life, or in general, if it's temporary or permanent, you like to be consciously aware of these things and think about it. So that's how it goes with the sun in the seventh house. And you like to act, you try to act fair. Sometimes you might not be balanced in the way you act, but eventually you'll get there. You know what I mean? That's the sun in the seventh house. Yeah, I pretty much covered it up based on your relationships, the people you're partnered up with, justice, fairness. These are things you like to act on and things like you like to think about, and your relationships. Yep. Um, yeah. Usually you're very talkative, friendly. Because Libras are like what's it called? Cardinal air. So they like to spark up conversations. They know how to partner up with people. That's one thing about Libras. I will say Libras are very good at knowing how to create a crowd. You know what I mean? They can create a crowd. Scorpios actually run away from the crowd, so it's like the opposite. So Libras know how to create a crowd, even if they don't know these people, they don't have a personal relationship with them, but they know how to just create that crowd. Like for some reason, they just know how to do that. So that's one thing Libras are very good at because they're cardinal air. So they know how to bring that fairness energy where people have no choice to be kept. People have no choice but to be captivated by it because you always feel like there's a win-win situation when you're talking to or interacting with a Libra. There's always feels like there's something you can gain from that, no matter what it is. So naturally, you're going to be drawn to that, having the sun in the seventh house. Yeah, and yeah, and also has to do with Venus. So you're very consciously aware of your beauty standards, and how you relate to other people. You know what I mean? You're always thinking about these things, and you act on it. You know what I mean? You act in a very Venus sensual way. The sun in the eighth house. So, sun in the eighth house, you like to give your consciousness to things that are either taboo, um, unseen, the underworld, um, the deeper meaning of something, your deep emotions. You know what I'm saying? That's where you like to put your energy in and you like to put your mental focus in. And you act in this way. You act very transformative. You're always transforming. Your thinking is always transforming all the time. The things that you experience mentally are always transforming all the time. Your mind is transforming all the time. Your actions are transforming all the time. People might not even recognize you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Your emotions also are transforming because it's fixed water. So your emotions are transforming. The things that you used to be emotionally tied to are transforming also. Having the sun in the eighth house. What else? Yeah, you like to think about taboo topics, things that people don't usually like to discuss in the open. Those are the type of things that you like to think about and you like to act on. Even sexual things, you like to think about these things a lot or act on them. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, you just have a very deep mind, very, very, very deep mind, and very, very even psychic. You could have a psychic mind. You know what I mean? Having the sun in the eighth house, you could have a psychic mind because it's all about the eighth house has to do with death. So death from this world is going to a into the mental world, going into the dream world. And having the sun there, you can illuminate that darkness. And illuminate that darkness is by creating a dream. That's how you illuminate your darkness. If you go to sleep right now and you start dreaming, you illuminated your darkness. You created that spark. Now you got the sun there, creating that illumination of that darkness, of that underworld. And now, you could have, a lot of people like that could have psychic abilities, you know what I mean? Or very prophetic dreams and things like that. So that's having the sun in the eighth house. But they can also go through very a lot of transformative experiences that changes their mind and their actions and even their body. Yep. Yeah. I said it, yeah. Think about sex or death or just, yeah, taboo topics. That's the sun. Sun in the ninth house. The sun in the ninth house. The sun in the ninth house is mostly your mental focus, and your actions are based on your travels, whether mentally or externally. So you like to your mental focus is mostly on traveling. You love to travel. You love to experience new cultures, new ways of thinking, new philosophies, new experiences. That's what you love to do. And that's where your mental focus is on. It's mostly on traveling, experiencing, always expanding. And for you to expand, expanding is synonymous with the new. You cannot expand if you're not embracing the new. You're staying stagnant. So that's one thing that's beautiful about that Jupiterian energy. That's beautiful about the wisdom energy, the Sagittarius energy, is that you're always expanding. You know what I mean? That's what creates the new. Just like if you want to give birth to a child, the mother's womb has to expand so she can give birth to something, to a new being that can be brought into this world. So every form of expansion is birth, and every form of birth is new. So that's one thing about Sagittarius. They love things new. They love spontaneous energy. They love to expand. They love to add more memories, you know, into their record. You know what I'm saying? Um, what else? Having the sun in the ninth house is that, yeah, your actions are very dramatic. You know what I'm saying? The way you act, it's very animated. And people can understand what you're doing just by the way you act, the way you move your body and things like that. What else? Yeah, you like to move the way you act. It's like you're very outgoing, you're very free, freedom loving, you love freedom. You don't like to be restricted. You don't like to be complacent. You usually try to escape from people who are restrictive. So you have to be around people that make you feel expanded and make you feel like you can be yourself and come back whenever you want. You know what I mean? You don't like people that set too much rules and boundaries within your existence, because then you feel like you cannot expand and embrace something new, and you're all about the new. That's all you long for. It's just the new. So that's one thing about Sagittarius energy and having the sun in the ninth house. Yeah, you love to travel, whether it's internally, philosophy, debating, things like that, teaching. That's what you love to think about. Spirituality, you know, things like that. Or you like to act on these things. You love to physically travel and embrace new cultures, speak different languages. You're multilingual. You know what I mean? That's that Sagittarius energy. You know how to speak different languages. You know how to understand different languages. Yep. Preaching and teaching. Sun in the tenth house. Sun in the tenth house. You're consciously aware of your business, of your status. That's all you think about. How you can make money, how you can expand this business, how you can expand this form of stability. You love to create new forms of stability. That's all you think about, having the sun in the 10th house. You know what I'm saying? Some form of stoicism. You know what I mean? Some form of discipline or restriction. That's all you're consciously aware of. So the sun does alright in the 10th house because it's all has to do with, sun is like Leo energy, and then 10th house is like status. So your status is based on you being center stage. You know what I mean? Whether whatever like it is. So if you have, like, let's say your sun is in Virgo and it's in the 10th house, all you're consciously aware and all you think about is your status when it comes to your health, your wellness, things that you do on a daily basis, your habit. That's all you think about, and you've made that your status. You know, what I mean, that's the way you act is what you want to be known for. You want to be known as. That's the thing with 10th house energy, though. It's what you want to be known as. It might not be personally who you are, but it's really what you want to be known as into the public. It's what you want to exalt. So yeah, that's what you love to create. It's like your brand, and your brand is what you're thinking about. You're thinking about the 10th house. You're thinking about your status. You're thinking about the way people see you. So if you have Aries in your 10th house, you also like to act like that. Your status, your brand is how impulsive or how aggressive you can be, or how goal driven you can be, or how um determined you can be, tunnel vision you can be. You know what I mean? That is your status, and you're always thinking about that. That's what you think about. You think about your status because you want to come across to people as that warrior-like being. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So whatever you have there, Aries, Gemini, you might have Gemini in your 10th house. Um, all you think about is your status when it comes to how you communicate with other people, how you relate to other people based on your words. That's all you think about, and that's what you love to act on. You know what I mean? You love to act on that. Um, yeah, yeah. You act in a Gemini way, which is your status. So you act in a mutable way. You're always talking a lot, and that's also what you want to be known as. Now you got 10th Sun in 11th house. The Sun in 11th house is thinking about and being consciously aware and acting on your groups of friends, of the masses. You know what I mean? The people that you make friends that are not just like just your relatives, very close personal ones, even the ones that are just in public. That's what the 11th house represents: the public, the world, the masses, society. So you like to think about that. You might be like a celebrity or something, so that's all you think about. It's just the people that you've impacted. The masses that you've impacted. You know what I mean? And you think about collective thinking. You know what I mean? Things that are about the collective, things that are about society or the masses. But also it has that Uranus energy. So the way you think is very unique. You know what I mean? The way you think is very unique, and the way you act is very unique amongst the masses. You know what I mean? Yeah, the way you act is very unique amongst the masses, and the way you also think too. You like to think about things that are unique. That let's say like punk rock. Punk rock is something that was not of mainstream. Punk rock is like something that was meant to be um alternative. You know what I mean? Alternative culture, alternative pop, or something like that. So that's like 11th house energy. It's unique, but it's also accepted by the masses. You know what I'm saying? Not obviously every single masses. There's different genres of music, but it's accepted by a large amount of people that like punk rock. So that's a perfect example. You know what I mean? Of that, and you being consciously aware or acting on that. You know what I mean? The way you act, you like to be unique amongst other people, and you're drawn to those type of people also, and you think about that. Yeah. Yep. So like if you have Leo in your 11th house, um, and the sun is Leo, like that's what I'm saying. So if your sun is Leo, right, that's you're naturally, yeah, you're naturally gifted in being center stage amongst the masses. You know what I'm saying? And you like to think about these things and you like to act on that. If you got what's it called? The sun in your 12th house, last but not least, you know, that's you, that's me. I got Leo in my 12th house, but if you got the sun, I mean, don't want to say too much about me, but if you got the sun in the 12th house, you're consciously aware of your dreams. You're consciously aware of your subconscious mind. You're consciously aware of things that are away from the public. And you like to act in private. You're a very private person. Having Leo or the sun in the 12th house, you're a very private person. You like to be private. You like to keep to yourself. You like to do your creativity. You like to create in private. You don't like to create really amongst other people. See, having the sun in the 11th house, you like to create um amongst the masses. You know what I'm saying? But having the sun in your 12th house, you like to create or you like to be consciously aware of or act in private. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. You like to think about things that are private, like your emotions, emotional wellness, spirituality, creativity, you know, those forms of things. That's where your sun is at. That's where you're mostly at. You're consciously aware of those things. That's where you're usually at. You're usually at in your mind, in the dream world, in the la la land, or in 12th house also has to do with like jail systems and things that are uh that has separated from society. You know what I mean? So psych wards, facilities, um prisons, jails, um spiritual retreats. You know what I mean? That might be where you usually are. Your mind is usually there. That's where your mind likes to be, and that's the way you usually like to act. Because wherever your mind is, that's where your body's gonna act. If your mind is in Scorpio, your body's gonna act that way. You're gonna act mysterious. You're gonna act private. You're gonna like to, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna like to want to uncover mysteries and uncover things that are unseen, or you might act in a sexual manner. You know what I mean? So that's just the way you act, and that's the way you think. So if you have the sun in the 12th house, you like to think about spirituality and you like to act in a spiritual way, or you might do spiritual wellness things. You might be a spiritual guru, something like that. But usually you because 12th house has to do with death, so endings. So you like to, your ego is not really, people don't really see your ego till it's time for you to show it. You know what I'm saying? You usually like to keep your ego within yourself and keep it in private until people, or sometimes you're forced to draw your hand and you gotta show your ego, or sometimes you just don't like to show your ego because you don't feel like you have to, except when you need to. You know what I mean? And usually when you have Leo in your 12th house, that 12th house has to do with your past life. So if you have Leo in your 12th house, you were probably like in your past life like a king or someone that was well known, you know, center stage. Having Leo in your 12th house, you're someone that was very well known. You know what I mean? Very well known and very well in the public. And in this lifetime, is the 12th. In this lifetime, yeah, you had to let go of that ego and recreate a new ego. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's very important that having the sun in the 12th house, that you don't really hide yourself too much, that you still like to be around other people and interact with other people, but still know who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? It's very important for that. Um, to know who you are and still express yourself and still be charismatic. You know what I mean? But just do it in your own natural way. And it might come off very captivating and very dreamy to other people anyway, but you might not know it. So it's very important that you just be yourself. And by you being yourself and just thinking about your own subconscious mind, your own forms of creativity, you know what I mean? Your own forms of emotional wellness. And by just doing that and just being that and being who you are, naturally everything will um, be drawn to you naturally. And everything will come across very easy for you. But yeah, guys, that is the sun from first to 12 houses. Last but not least, we'll be doing the moon, and then after that, we might just do the rising series after that. So we'll see what happens next. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you soon.